Hey, I'm Kate Freeman and this is the Daily Dollop. On this episode of the Daily Dollop, I'm going to talk you through how to spot nutritional wankery and essentially make your way through the noise of nutrition information out there on social media and find the sensible, realistic and sustainable advice that's right for you. Well, welcome back everyone to the Daily Dollop. My name's Kate Freeman. I'm a registered nutritionist and the founder of the Healthy Eating Hub. Fun fact about me is that I've never ever been drunk. Never. I've been a tiny bit tipsy a couple of times. My best friend's wedding, she will know if she's listening, gave a good speech that night. But I've also never smoked a cigarette or taken drugs. So grew up reasonably tame and not rebellious at all. No judgment to those of you who have. You are very brave. But on to today's show where we're going to look at nutritional wankery. And what is a nutritional wanker, I hear you ask? Well, I'm very happy to answer that question. It is somebody who essentially makes up nutrition information to either push some kind of agenda, sell a product, to just purely be controversial and annoying, but mostly it's to gain a huge following because they're pushing against mainstream status quo. And unfortunately, nutritional wankery is rife within our culture. Anybody thinks that they're a nutrition expert, and there are no laws in Australia on who can actually give nutrition advice online. And, you know, there's kind of free speech and everything, so I guess people they can say what they want, and that's fine. However, it means that for you, savvy listener, you need to wade through all of the information and decide what's good and what's not good. And so I'm going to give you 9 lessons from the celery juice trend. For those of you who don't know, there's this guy called the Medical Medium. He has over 2 million followers on Instagram, and he is above the medical and scientific community because the spirits talk to him and he hears the spirit, and the spirit tells him about medical truths and health information that he's now sharing with his followers. And one of the things that the spirit told him is that celery juice is this amazing cure-all. And we were just looking at his Instagram profile just before shooting this, and it's now called the celery juice movement. So of course he's got like this huge followers of people who I doubt actually drink celery juice every day, but they just like it. Why do we like it? I don't know. But there are 9 lessons that we can learn from Anthony. Thank you very much. He didn't realize that when he started spruiking his nutritional blah all over the internet that he actually formulated a really nice podcast episode for me. So thank you very much. Lesson number 1, nutritional wankery will imply that it's telling you a secret. Oh, there's nothing like a good controversy, that the medical mainstream community is hiding something from you. And one of those things is the powerful, miraculous benefits of celery juice. A quote from their website: "If people knew all the potent healing properties of celery juice, it would be widely hailed as a miraculous superfood." We love it when we think we're discovering something new. It's actually a psychological principle in getting people's attention. But it is nutritional wankery. Their reason that registered health professionals like myself and others are not touting the benefits of celery juice on our social media profiles, or when you come and see us for an appointment or you do our programs, is because there are none. Like, it's not a thing, and that's why. So there's no secret. It's not helpful. It's just celery put into a blender and you eat the watery bit that comes out and you remove the pulp. There's nothing special about that. Lesson number 2, nutritional wankery will tell you that thousands of people have already discovered the secret. So not only do they say, oh, this is a special secret that you don't know about, now You get FOMO because thousands of people have already discovered it and you haven't. And so now what they're doing is they're putting the weight of other people behind their argument so that you feel like you're being left out. And it's this pack mentality of going, oh, I shouldn't be left behind. All these other people are curing their diseases with celery juice. Why aren't I? FOMO is scaremongering at its core, and it's emotional manipulation, and it's not cool. It's not cool. Lesson number 3 is nutrition wankery will insist that there is a special, detailed formula for their advice rather than giving vague guidelines. I have to admit that as a registered nutritionist, it's sometimes frustrating when people ask me questions or I come in and do a talk that I give vague answers because there are no rules. Like when people ask me, what's the special routine that I should do at the beginning of the day? Like, should I drink apple cider vinegar or lemon water? Or, is there a special thing that I can do to optimize my digestion? And I'm like, no, there isn't. There isn't anything. Have some water, have some breakfast, wait a few hours and then have some breakfast. If you want to drink lemon in water, sure. But there's nothing special about any of those things. And the reality is that the scientific research backing guidelines around nutrition information are broad. They're nutrition principles that can be applied to individuals' lives in a myriad of different ways. And so often when we see then a really specific protocol, so the medical medium states by drinking 16 ounces of celery juice daily on an empty stomach, by being specific in his dose and his regime is that he's making himself out to be an expert. And by the nature of articulating how you're supposed to do it, he's implying that there's a wrong and a right way to do it, that you have to do it specifically this way or not at all. And it makes him out to be smarter than he probably is. And in fact, he's probably incredibly smart because he's duped 2.5 million people. Lesson number 4 is nutritional wankery will claim that their advice will cure all the diseases, even the mystery ones, and even the genetic ones. And this is a really sad thing about this whole area of social media, is that if you have a genetic disease, a congenital disease, or a disease that has no cure, that's not an easy thing for anybody to live with. And the fact that this guy is playing on the desperation and the suffering of innocent people who are battling challenges with their health day in, day out, and literally implying that there's this secret juice that no one knows about. Oh, but thousands of people have discovered and you only have to drink 16 ounces a day and boom, schizophrenia, dementia, skin diseases, autoimmune diseases, they're all cured. It's just not cool. It's not cool at all. And, he's a nutritional wanker because he does that. And we get suckered in because when you're suffering with your health day in, day out, you get to the point where you'll try anything and buy into anything. Lesson number 5 is nutritional wankery will throw in a scatter of real scientific words, however used incorrectly. Another quote. Further, it won't dehydrate your organs. Instead, it clings to toxic, dangerous salts from poor quality foods and helps draw them out of your body while replacing them with undiscovered cluster salts. I can't even deal with that. What is a cluster salt? That's not a thing. I have a master's degree in nutrition. Cluster salts are not a thing. The fact that he says that they're undiscovered means that apparently he's the only one who knows about them. No one else in the scientific community does. It's just crazy. Lesson number 6 is similar, throwing a smattering of scientific words, a smattering of nutritional truths. He talks about things like dehydrating and, viruses and different things that people are like, oh yeah, I know that word, inflammation, but uses it in completely the wrong context. So those of us with scientific qualifications will know that they're not real, but for the lay person, they recognize some of the scientific words and they know that those are, important, real things, but the actual sentence themselves doesn't make sense. Lesson number 7, nutritional wankery takes the complete opposite standpoint on a commonly held health theory. So the celery juice trend talks a lot about autoimmune diseases, and as I'm not a doctor, I actually don't know much about autoimmune diseases, and I wouldn't pretend to. I'm not an expert in that area, and it would be ethically wrong for me to start proposing my theories from the spirit on autoimmune diseases because I'm wrong. I don't know anything about them. And what the medical medium has done has positioned himself as being in complete contradiction to the mainstream autoimmune theories in medicine. Now, science is not perfect. I mean, we used to think the world was flat, and I think being critical of all science and all statements is really, really important. But science changes and evolves over time. The people who stood up in complete contradiction never actually won any sort of good favor. In fact, it just makes things more and more confusing. And so particularly in the area of autoimmune diseases where there's often no cures and it is mystery and challenging illnesses for the health community, it's just wrong. It's just so wrong to play on people's lives by coming out and making them to be the victim and GPs and the medical community to be the bad guy. And here's Mr. Medical Medium over here, the savior of the world with celery juice. It's just stupid. All right, 2 more things. Nutritional wankery wants to create a problem and then sell you a solution. You will often find on their websites they're trying to sell you a book, a program, a supplement, a pill, something like that. Most of those supplements in particular aren't regulated by any kind of regulatory body. So be really skeptical about buying powders and pills off the internet. Eating whole, minimally processed foods is the best way to get your nutrition. And lesson number 9 is nutrition wankery has made up qualifications. Like these days, you just whack you whack thought leader on the end of your title or coach on the end of your title or something like that. And all of a sudden you're now a qualified person. So I did some marketing training, which actually told us that if we want to have authority in the market and have people listen to us, that we need to make up a qualification because it makes us appear better. And it's just wrong. It means people are confused about what's a real qualification and what's not. So if you want a summary of this, head to the link in the show notes, 9 lessons from the celery juice trend. Let's wade through the wankery today. If you see people sharing this kind of crap on social media, tell them it's dodge and enjoy. I will see you next time on the Daily Dollop.